date is February 7th, 2021. On this day, with the snow on the ground, I decided to go out and see what I could find. As you just saw, the first thing I caught on this day was a southbound Norfolk Southern Intermodal train at Valley Crossing. It was being led by a GE C44-9W and a ES44DC. After the NS Intermodal train got by, I then swung on by the south end of Parsons Yard. I saw that CSX 8905, one of the then new EMD SD70AH-T4s, was at the front of a CSX freight train getting ready to leave the yard southbound. So I drove down to the Bixby Road underpass to watch the train roll across. CSX 8905 was built back in 2019. CSX Transportations, along with Union Pacific, are the only two Class 1 railroads to roster the SD70AH-T4s. CSX 802 trailing behind is a GE ES44AC-H built in 2008. As the train slowly crosses the underpass, I decide to drive ahead of it and see the train more at speed at a pull-off along Lockbourne Road just northeast of the road's namesake town. in December of 2020 for Christmas, I acquired a new camera, similar to the one I have already. At first, I didn't know what to do with it, until this day. On this day, I decided to use the other camera not only as a backup camera, but also as a second camera, so I could get more shots of trains that I think I want more shots of. So, before we leave here, let's go to the other camera and get a different angle on the same area. After the train got by, the chase was on. The next place we saw the T4 at was at the abandoned Venture Road Railroad crossing south of Circleville, Ohio. Here, I set up both cameras to get a coming and going shot. After seeing the train here, the last place we saw the T4 at was at the Road 900 railroad crossing southeast of Chillicothe, Ohio. Here, the old C&O, now CSX's northern sub, crosses and connects to what's left of the old Baltimore and Ohio's Parkersburg, West Virginia, the Cincinnati, Ohio main line. Just like back at the abandoned Venture Road railroad crossing, I got both cameras set up to get a coming and going shot. A little bit after getting set up, the T4's train soon came around the curve and passed by here. Back during the days of the Baltimore and Ohio, the Parkersburg-Cincinnati line was once a vital main line for traffic coming from both St. Louis and Cincinnati to the East Coast. While the section of B&O main line between St. Louis and Cincinnati, as well as the section between Cumberland, Maryland and Clarksburg, West Virginia, is still used by CSX, the rest of the line between Cincinnati, Ohio and Clarksburg, West Virginia was abandoned around 1986. Today, small sections of the once mighty main line are still in use here, such as this section here, which is used by CSX to serve industries on the south side of Chillicothe. There's also another small section that is also still in use here for the nearby Ohio South Central Railroad. After the freight train got by, I then decided to let the T4 continue on its journey southbound, while I broke off for lunch. After eating, I found myself at the Delano Road / Road 236 North railroad crossing north of Chillicothe. Here is where a siding is located on the northern sub, which includes some signals which gave me some good news. On the siding was a lone grain car, possibly taken off of a previous train sometime earlier. After a bit of time here, I then heard something on the scanner and got set up to watch a southbound CSX grain train roll by. It was being led by CSX 401 and 404, two GE AC-44 CWs, still in their classic YN2 paint scheme. They were both built in 1999. After the grain train got by, I then continued back north. Eventually, I found myself back at the old abandoned Duval Road railroad crossing, south of Lockbourne, Ohio. At the time of my visit, there were some roadwork vehicles here, probably here to repair some of the wires on the telephone poles in between both railroads. Soon, some headlights appeared on Norfolk Southern, from the south. This train I caught was a northbound grain train, led by Norfolk Southern 1182, 9459, 1193, and 1817. Norfolk Southern 1182 and 1193 are both EMD SD70AH-T4s. NS 9459 is a GE C44-9W, and NS 1817 is a rebuilt EMD SD70ACU. It was originally built as an SD70 in 1994 as Norfolk Southern 2544. After the other grain train got by, I then learned that a southbound ethanol train arrived in Parsons Yard earlier in the day, led by 2 Canadian National locomotives. I then learned that they were getting ready to leave Parsons Yard to head south on the northern sub, so I got myself set up to wait on it at the pull-off along Lockbourne Road. While I was waiting here, a northbound CSX grain train surprised me. It was being led by CSX 3230 and 534. Just like earlier in the day, I had my second camera set up in a similar area. As a result, I caught this train twice, so now let's switch over to the other camera to get a different perspective. CSX 3230 is a GE ES44AC-H, and CSX 534 is a AC44CW, built in 2001. After our surprise train came on by and got into Parsons Yard, the CN train we were waiting for was then given permission to leave, and after a little bit came by here. Canadian National 5625 is an EMD SD70i built in 1995, and Canadian National 2634 is a GE C44-9W built in 2001. We'll now switch to the other camera to see the train again from a different perspective. After the ethanol train got by here, I then got back on the road again to try and catch it one more time. The last place I caught this train at was at a pull-off along Highway 23 just west of Kingston, Ohio. The bridge in the background carries the Kingston-Adelphi Road / Road 1 across both the railroad and Highway 23. There is also a set of signals here which gave me good news. After a little bit of time, I then saw the headlights of the train I was waiting on, and watched as it rolled on through. Although this was the last place I saw the train at, I decided to use my second camera here as well. We'll now switch over to the other camera to see the train one more time. Once the end of the ethanol train got by here, I then called it a day and went home. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.